I mean, people, you guys have no idea. I mean, you would never know who these guys are.
Ever.
I would have never known they were that powerful had I not worked with them or, for them, or that in the circles I didn't even know. I mean, these are the kind of people that would tell the president of the World Bank, come here, you come to our office.
You
And,
know what
this is,
proves it? You know what proves it? Every single thing he tries to do, even minor things, they get involved. Every single issue. There's these bloody federal judges. They're not even from like his home state. They're not from even big ones. You'll get like, he wants to deport someone and the Wisconsin state will say, no, you're not allowed to do that. It's like, it just goes to show that the real power is with these faceless bureaucrats whose names you don't even know. It seems like he's getting hamstrung at every turn. I read that he's had something like 35 injunctions against, like 35 of his major policies he wants to go ahead with. Every time he tries to do anything, he gets an injunction, doesn't he? So it just goes to
but
show
I
that the
don't
real
get it. I don't
powers.
get it because the Senate, he has both houses.
I know, but this is what I'm saying. That the Senate and the House, the real power seems to lie with these bloody judges and civil servants and activist lawyers. Like, he's the president of the United States, and every time he tries to do anything, they go, "Oh, you're not allowed to do that." Elon Musk's talked about, hasn't he? Said on X, like, if the president can't do anything because these unelected bureaucrats say you can't, then do we even live in a democracy? We don't, do we? And it's the same in
No.
England. These judges just overrule everybody. That I don't
But
understand how
how
they've
can
stitched
they?
it
How
up.
can they? This is the thing I don't get. How can they?
Because they've stitched it up that way using this slippery legalese. They always fall back on saying it's the
Is that your
law doing
wife?
that.
Is that your wife?
No, she's just one of my moderators.
Oh,
That's what
okay.
the wrench next to her head means. That means she's a
No, no,
moderator.
I know. I just want to. I guess I've seen pictures of her. Oh no, yesterday, yesterday I sent you a text. I'm going to tell you what happened, Matt. My son is a common tenant in Canada. That means that there's a man who owns a huge, very beautiful house, and then he leases a room, but it's a separate agreements with people, right? But they share the house, right?
Right.
And then this guy who is on a student visa, who is a Pakistani, and he's on a student visa in Canada. He essayed a girl. He has been found that he did it. He's out on bail. They caught him again because he was doing something really nasty. They took him to the police. Everybody was happy at the house because in order to evict somebody in Canada, it's a bitch.
I
It's
bet
a
it
bitch.
is.
You have to, no, I mean, seriously, it's a bitch. You have to give them a notice. You have to have mediation. It can take you up to a year to evict an asshole unless something really bad happens.
Canada. Canada's
Yeah.
stupid, isn't it? Liberals have ruined Canada just like they've done to England.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
there's we never do the middle ground, do we? We never. Yeah, okay, you shouldn't be able to just evict people at 2 hours' notice, but it shouldn't take you 6 months to get someone a
6 months.
scumbag.
Which 6 months? A year.
Even worse. Well, he's
And
obviously
then
a trucier
but
there.
the guy went crazy on my son yesterday because, nobody wants him. He's doing some sort of drugs, and he went around throwing knives and stuff at people because they're girls there, and all of them are professional or students. My son's is fourth year aerospace engineering, and then so it's not like they're bums. It's just this guy, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So my son comes up to him, and my son goes, "Can you please don't throw knives? You and might end up hurting somebody. Don't slam the doors," because he was kicking the doors.
Yeah,
So
funny little pigs don't throw knives.
as soon as my son is walking back to his room, the guy pushed him, and my son fell into his room. But then his girlfriend was in the room, so the girlfriend shut the door. And then the guy started banging, like kicking. He cracked the door. So my son called the police. And the police, you know what they said to him? He is to be officially evicted May 1st. Now, after a year, no, after 18, almost 18 months of going to court and everything. And then the police showed up. Oh, don't worry, we're going to take him overnight. And my son is like, "What do you mean overnight? This guy can't come back." He's not only that is, everybody here is stressed. Now he's throwing knives. I mean, who has to die in order for you to take
Yeah,
this fucking thing seriously?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
And they take
Absolute
off. They
lunacy.
don't leave you the case number. They don't leave him a number here. Call that. This is the report number. Nothing.
Yeah.
And I was so livid because had I been there, it would have been a different story, Matt. It would have been.
Yeah, you'd have went. You'd have
I'd be
went
on the
mental.
news right now. I'd be on the news right now.
Mama Bear would be like, get him, electric chair,
Oh,
electric chair. This is the thing, though, right? These people, they do get you killed. They do get you killed, and it's like Mr. Truth was
yeah.
saying in the thing there about Peter Lynch. He got killed. Do you know who Peter Lynch is?
I've
Peter
heard
Lynch
the
was
name.
he was just a normal man who was arrested by the British state for basically being a bit obnoxious at a protest. That's all he did. He was, after the Southport, after all those kids got
Yeah.
killed in Southport.
Is this
He
the guy who self-exited in prison?
Well, that's what they say. That's what they say. Which the reason that we bring him up is because do you think Virginia self-exited? Because I don't.
Oh, I don't think so. Let me see if I
No
can pull
way.
the picture there. Let me see
No
if I can
way.
pull the picture here.
I was
Because
saying,
I
right?
downloaded.
Do you know how easy it'd be for a young, fit, strong man to just kill these people? There's like Epstein and Virginia. You wouldn't even
Yeah.
need two people. You'd need one guy. If it's a middle-aged woman, if they send a 25-year-old commando around their house, they're done. They'll just bundle them to the floor, physically asphyxiate them, stick a rope around the neck and say, oh yeah, they committed suicide. Virginia was battling a serious illness that gave her something. And I was talking about this yesterday. The reason that, in the movies, whenever anyone gets
Mm-hmm.
injured, they tell you have to talk to them. You do that in real life. That's not just in the movies. The reason when
Mm-hmm.
you do combat first aid, you always talk to them is because you need to have the will to survive. If you let them go to sleep or the drift off, you need to keep them awake and keep them interested, keep talking to them. Virginia had this real passion for life because she
Yeah.
she fought back from a serious illness, and then she finally makes a recovery, goes all the way to the farm healthy again, and then kills herself. That there's no way that makes any sense to me at all.
And no, no, and not only that, I'm gonna tell you guys. You guys might not know very much about my story, guys, but I was okay. I just wanted to show you this. I wanna. This is okay. This is graphic, so I don't know how guys. I'm gonna. Well, not really, because it's all over the newspaper, so it's not that graphic. But I'm gonna show you this picture because I did. I do lives with Sean Atwood with Ron on Sean Atwood's channel. And Ron, he used to have a channel that, guess what he did in that channel? His channel was literally exposing people who force children to travel against their will and to play not very nice games. He had over 100 and some thousand every video he posted, because he had a whole team of people and he exposed these people, and these people actually ended up in jail. So that was what his channel was about. It got taken down. So I do lives with Ron, in Sean Aswood channel. And when we saw, and I worked in hospital, guys. I've also, my ex-husband he used to use me like a punching bag. So I know a little bit about bruises, what they do and everything, right? So when Ron and it's very sneaky the way the press put out that picture of Virginia Roberts standing up, because when you look at it like this, and trigger warning, right? It's a different whole ball game.
Yeah,
And I'm gonna make it even closer, because this woman that's here, this woman is no longer alive. Okay. And I know this because when somebody dies, it's the way the eyes are. My first career was physical therapy, and I used to work, in all kinds of jobs, and elderly homes, and you're around a lot. It's the way the mouth is, it's the way the eyes are. It is absolutely. And with Ron and I, we were like, yeah, that can't be, like, look at her.
yeah. Somewhat dodgy there, isn't there? Defo. Something slippery's gone on. Paula's macheted internet connection's not going very well, is it? She does look. She does look brown bread there, though, doesn't she? Wonder what the. I don't even know. Uh, kind of a. Although, yeah, no swelling. It's a good point. You can't. The thing is, in this day and age, you can't know, can you? The irony is, we all thought the internet was going to make it easier to know things. I'll just have to ramble till Paula comes back. Um, you thought the internet would make it easier to know things, and it's made it worse, hasn't it? Because there she is. She's back.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, there you are.
Sorry, guys. I'm going to have to do it from my phone because the internet is going like crazy. But I can send you the picture, or you have the picture. I can send you the picture, or the picture that we saw. There is no way that this woman is, you know what I mean, right?
Yeah. I definitely do.
And it is, I mean, and I was with Ron, and I was like, and you know what he said? And this is, sorry.
Paula's having a nightmare. Got to get Starlink if they're going to keep machete in your property. There you go. You're back on. Get rid of that.
Let me get out of this one here. Here. Remove. Here. Okay. And what happened is that Ron said this, and people called it conspiracy theory. He said, we talked about it in that live. And I said, there's no way that woman is alive. That is not the woman who is alive. And Ron said, and we did the live like 4 days later. And he says, nobody has seen this woman in and out of the hospital, which is really weird, especially after she posed that Instagram post that she has 4 days to live, which is very precise, by the way. And then they are like, nobody sees her out. Nobody sees her out. Look how slim this woman is. Look at her face. Look at everything, right?
Yeah.
Okay, this is not a woman who's around anymore. Then Ron is saying she had to show up for a trial for her kids because she's going through a messy divorce with her ex, and apparently a restraining order or something. So she misses the trial. And I said to Ron, well, if she shows up on Wednesday, because we did the live on a Sunday, if she shows up on Wednesday, then we know she's alive because nobody had seen her. But then suddenly we get this article that Virginia Giuffre seen for the first time after she was, I'm going to show you the article. This is supposed to be 48 hours after that picture. This is to be 48 hours after that picture. Yeah, I don't think so. She's even wearing the same earrings, and the picture that her brother posted as the last picture on Facebook even has the same earrings for continuity. Look at this woman. This woman is like about 15 pounds heavier, 0 bruises. 0 bruises. Matt, there is no way. There is absolutely no way that you can cover up bruises like that. No way. I can tell you from experience. And the process that you're seeing there, when somebody gets badly beaten, guys, and they start to bruise, but then they pass away, then when you die, everything stops. So you don't swell, but you don't get purple.
Yeah, makes sense. Well, honestly,
no, I know. I can show you pictures. I mean, I don't want to post my pictures of my being a punching bag. I could post the pictures of me being a punching bag, and I can tell you that bruises take about 2 to 3 days, maybe a day or 24 hours to form, and then they grow deeper and deeper depending on how hard they punch.
Yeah, and they go really dark.
Then they go down and starts to get yellowy around. When the veins start to the blood vessels start to repair themselves.
Yeah.
It can take you up to 10 days, depending on how hard. Those bruises look pretty hard.
She makes a good point there, though. Honesty and Truth said that both women said they weren't going to harm themselves. Do you remember Virginia Giuffre actually tweeted and said, "I'm not gonna."
I have it here. I have it here. I'll show it to you because I have it here. I was prepared today, Matt. Believe it or not, I was prepared.
It's mad though, isn't it? They could just do whatever they want. That's what I'm saying. I'm glad I've only got 70,000 subscribers because if I doubled it, maybe Hillary's going to pay me a visit. She's going to get me in a chokehold on the kitchen floor because it seems like if you make too much of a nuisance of yourself, they just rub you out, don't they? It's meant.
Well, Yeah, wait 1 second. Oh, don't tell me that they removed the article. Shit. Let me see. I'll see if I can get it back. But what do you make of all of this, Matt? What do you think happened to her?
She obviously knew stuff that they didn't want to talk about, just like Jeffrey in it. That's the only possible solution. Like they paid her off. I think they paid her off thinking that might fix the problem, and then she'll have been gobbing off still saying, "What about this? What about this? What about this?" And they went, we'll just do her in. We'll just do her in then."
Here
That's
we
what I
go.
think happened.
Virginia Giuffre's chilling tweet about not being suicidal and evil people resurfaces after her death.
There you go. She denied any suicidal intentions, warning of potential harm. Yeah, they've definitely done her in.
And you know what's so funny? I'll thank you, honestly, Andrew, for the super chat. I'm a girl at typist for the household. Virginia's photo looks like Sandra Bland's. Both women said they were not going to harm themselves. Neither had any reason to, and not Peter Lynch.
Yeah, they just top people all the time, don't they? If you're a pain up the arse, they kill you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
But the thing is, though, and this is the thing. Did you read what the article said when the news Australian report says that the WA police received a report that a woman had been located unresponsive prior to 10 p.m. on Friday, which is the weirdest thing. Because why not say a family member found her, and then major crimes was involved. And let me tell you, they did the quickest autopsy in history, because by Monday they had the results that no, she self-exited.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nonsense, isn't it? Nonsense.
And the thing is, though, okay, I'm going to show something. You know what? I don't give a fuck. I'm going to show something here. I know which names they're trying to protect. And people think it's Andrew, but it's not Andrew they're trying to protect.
Hey, I shared this on my channel, so don't be pulling this out. I don't want to get a bullet in the back of the head as well. Can we put something less controversial on?
Okay, I have the logs, guys. I have the logs, and I was shocked. Because I did a video, right? This was in early 2020. I did a video, and I got a hold of the original flight logs. I still have them. They're handwritten here. They're handwritten, so they can't delete the names and stuff like that, right? No, I'm serious. I'm not going to share very much, but it's just so like these are the original flight logs, These are the handwritten ones.
You've got them as well. You want to be careful. Look, I think you'll be feeling suicidal next week.
No,
if it keeps up.
No, I'm not. But you know what I mean? But it's so funny because it's not Andrew. I believe, and this is what I wanted to get at with Ron, which I always get sidetracked, is that Ron said, I want proof of life. And then I remember when this article came out that suddenly when people were saying this is really fishy, Ron said, I don't think she's going to show up at the trial for her kids. And I said, as a mother, if she's fighting for her kids, you fucking right. Of course she will. She's got money. She's got the lawyers, She didn't show up. And then Ron said we did another live. And then Ron goes, we're going to hear pretty soon that she's dead, that somehow she died. And I'm like, oh, Ron,
You're so cynical, Ron. Yeah,
no,
exactly. Yeah.
No, you're taking it too far, And he goes, Paula, I've been around this, and this is, and we did the live, and sure enough, it happened. And now they're not giving any details and then we did another live yesterday with Ron, and I had to admit that he was right. And I hate it when people call these conspiracy theories. It's just, it doesn't make sense.
Now, in this day and age, I told you 10 years ago, I used to take the piss out of my dad for being a conspiracy theorist. Now, every time they say conspiracy theorist, it's right. It's like they're just getting the news out 6 months before anyone else. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Did you see that story from Sweden about the grannies?
What happened?
Someone sent me that. That's
please share.
All right, can I do it again? Yeah, I forget.
Yes, you can.
I'm on your channel, can't I? Yeah, hang on.
Don't forget to subscribe to Matt the Angry Bootneck to get him to 100,000 so we can get him in trouble.
Look, yeah, I know I like not being murdered. Thanks
oh
very much.
My God!
I'll just keep saying. Honestly, right, this is unbelievable, right? One of the lads sent me on my channel. He was like, not only Not only do they sacrifice young girls on the altar of political correctness,
Nobody's
now
safe.
they're helping them fist your granny while she's watching the Golden Girls. You know, like this
I
is
shouldn't laugh. Why do you make
disgraceful.
me laugh when you? These things are not laugh when you make me laugh.
But you send your granny to an old people's home in Sweden now, and the next thing there's some Somalian with his hand down a knickers, down a rubber incontinence pants. It's unbelievable.
But I think Sweden is going to start expelling people who have not immigrants who got not citizenship but had not adjusted to their whatchamacallit, to the culture of the country, which I find absolutely perfect.
I'll read you some of this. It's
Yeah,
unbelievable.
go
It
for it.
says, we know how bad it was in the UK where they ignored the groomers. It says, but in Sweden, there's been vulnerable people who've been abused while the people whose job it is to protect them failed to do so. And what's more, those in positions of authority downplayed or hushed up the allegations because the victims, the identity of the perpetrators could come out. And it's 84-year-old woman getting diddled by some foreign carer. He said he called her sweetheart and started kissing her. She said he was so pushy. An 84-year-old woman. And these people are absolute sex pests, aren't they?
But I don't understand it. How can they allow it in Sweden? Sweden is not woke, is it?
Oh, Sweden was woke for 20 years and now they're starting to push back. Sweden's imported. I think they've matched the UK for importing foreigners in the last 20 years. Sweden's totally went down the pan. Stockholm now. I read somewhere that Stockholm's got more grenades and gunfights than like anywhere in America or somewhere. Like Stockholm's full of gun-toting gangbangers now. Sweden totally gone to shit. So anyway, this is an 84-year-old woman saying he whipped his penis out in the middle of the.
But I just can't believe that they would allow this. I mean, it's.
Across the world.
They say Sweden have also introduced uplifted earrings level to stay in the country. Shame for the well-meaning, but gets rid of the undesirables and droves. That's actually good. I used to go to Sweden all the time. I love Sweden because, I used to live in Nesodden in Norway, which was about an hour's drive from Sweden. And we used to go drive across the border because the supermarkets there are cheaper.
You're saying you don't believe it about Scandinavia. Here's another good one. Norwegian politician. He got bummed by some bloke and then he got deported, the geezer, and now the guy said he feels guilty.
Show the guy's face.
You don't need to see his face, just a soy boy. There he is. It said a Norwegian man who got bummed by a migrant said he felt guilty because the attacker got deported. You believe that?
I know, they're so stupid. What do you mean he feels guilty?
So imagine he got rogered by this Somalian pirate and then he gets home and he goes, two things. First of all, get the frozen peas out because my ring piece is killing me. Second of all, don't tell the police because they might deport him. That's the people you've got in Scandinavia. The Scandinavians are, if anything, they're more woke than the British politicians because the Scandinavians have got they've been sheltered from it. The average Englishman now is sick to the back teeth of these people. But if you go in the middle of nowhere in Sweden, they'll still be on Norway. They'll still be ignorant, won't they?
I'm going to show you this because I was in Norway when this happened. 3 people killed in Norway after knife-wielding men hijacks passenger bus. In Stavanger. I know Stavanger. I've been to Stavanger. A knife-wielding man hijacked a bus in Western Norway. This was way back. Let me see. 2013.
Right.
And killed 3 people on board, including the bus driver. The suspect was described. He was arrested. Clearly, he was not a white person, right?
Yeah.
And what happened? But listen to this. This reminds me so much of what happened in Utoya. The inefficiency of the police. I kid you not, Matt. The man was walking up and down the bus. The police had a clear sight to shoot the man.
Yeah.
And they didn't do it.
Unbelievable.
3 people had to die for until he gave himself up, and I don't know what happened after that. But I mean, he kills one person because the guy was pacing up and down the bus. You know?
Man. If I was in charge in Sweden now, I'd be I'd be putting so many people on the electric chair. There'd be power outages. Everyone would be getting pissed off because the TVs wouldn't turn on. I'd have a specially. It'd be like, you know, those German drinking halls where there's like bench with about 200 people on. I'd be electrifying them. I'd be like, we need to get shot of these people. That's Buffalo Bill. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
But
isn't he
the
lovely in
world's
that
gone
blue
mad,
dress? Huh?
right? That's not the one that got jizz all down the front of it, is it?
Yes, that's the one that Epstein had. This is one of the paintings that was confiscated from Epstein house, where it was like a joke. It was a painting he had, and Bill Clinton used to go there, and he found it hilarious.
Really?
Oh yeah,
I didn't know
because he
that.
would go to his house to attend dinner there.
It's unbelievable. They're just the worst people on planet Earth. Oxygen thieves is what they are. So that's brilliant. So yeah, don't start me on Sweden and Norway and Denmark. They're done as well. The ones that have had the most comfortable existence are the ones that have got no defences against it because they think it's all propaganda. The average Norwegian, middle class, wealthy Norwegian, they're all rich, aren't they? You ever met a Norwegian in a pub in Germany? I remember being on the piss in Hamburg and meeting a couple of Norwegian lads. I obviously started chatting to them because as soon as I clocked them as Scandies, I was having a crack with them and that, and they were buying me beers and that. And I was like, "Oh, you guys buying all my beer for me?" And they were like, "Oh yeah, we're rich. This costs nothing." They're all well off. So it's like an entire country of middle class arseholes. I've made this point loads of times. In the West, it specifically is line to your class. Because if you get poor people, for example, you might not know as much about this because you're not English, but working class British people know exactly which areas of the UK voted for Brexit, purely based off the class of people that live there. Like,
What do you mean by that?
Because if you
Okay, if you're white, if you're white, which areas would you avoid when you go to England? Like your bloke.
Yeah, well, all the
All of the UK.
areas, all of Birmingham. I'd build a wall around Birmingham. I just don't go anywhere near it. London, all the big cities.
London?
Most of London. There's White London, and there's.
I used to live in Richmond and Hampstead Heath. Are they still white or are they?
No, Hampstead Heath's shocking. If you go to like Kensington, Knightsbridge, the posh places in London, they're super nice. Me and my wife joke about it. She just calls it White London. She goes, "Oh, I like White London." If you go to White London, it's nice. It's flowers outside the pubs. It's like being in the 80s. If you go to foreign London...
the 2006 when I was there. How about Richmond? Did you go to Richmond?
I know
on
Richmond
the Thames, you know?
I don't know Richmond on Thames. No, I don't.
It's very, very beautiful. It's very... I mean, I was the minority.
Yeah, well...
And I was very white. And I was very white.
Trust me, you'd be the whitest woman there now.
Really?
Grace
I don't
Jones
think so.
looks
Camilla's
white
sister lives there. Camilla's sister lives there almost by the train station, by the subway in Richmond. And you get off and you walk towards the river. And on the right-hand side, there's a little park. And Camilla's house is there. And behind it, there's a really nice pub.
Now, if you go, Whoopi Goldberg will be the lightest person there, right? I'm telling you, it's mental. But what I've talked about with the class thing, right, is just to explain it to you in like layman's terms. If you tell an English person a town that we know is posh and wealthy, like Harrogate, everyone knows Harrogate's posh. We know that Harrogate voted Remain in the EU election. We know if you go somewhere scruffy like my hometown or Hartlepool, we know they voted Brexit because it's based off your class. Middle class people, the reason English people use the term middle class arseholes is because middle class people are perfectly comfortable. So they want to maintain the status quo. If you're middle class and your life's amazing and your house is amazing and you've never seen a Somalian pirate masturbating in the middle of the street because you live in a posh neighbourhood, you think everything's perfect, so you vote to maintain the status quo. That's who all the Lib Dem voters are. But if you live in a cesspit and your kids have been fingered by foreigners, and you live in it, and everything about your life is terrible,
I'm sorry,
you're going to vote for change, aren't you?
I just want to clarify something. I don't find these things funny. It's just that he catches me off guard. Sorry about that.
You're going to vote for anything, aren't you? So it's like, it is based on your class. So what I'm saying is, Sweden and Denmark and Norway are in trouble because more than any other countries in Europe, they're full of middle-class arseholes. Like, England's only 50% middle class, i.e. half the country's nice and half of the country's a shithole. But in Norway and Denmark, like, 80% of the country's nice. So it's like an entire country full of ignorant middle-class people who are just like, oh, everything's marvellous. Bring the foreigners in. Diversity is our strength. Yay. And the next thing, they catch a random Iraqi having a shit in the front garden at 8 o'clock in the morning when they're going to put the milk out. And all of a sudden they go, whoa, maybe it isn't quite as good as I was led to believe. Yeah, when you go take the dog for a walk, you don't want to see a random Afghan's rusty bullet hole, do you? That's what we see now in these places that are getting swamped with foreigners. So Sweden's in trouble. In fact, I'm going to Google it now because I want to.
You know, I used to walk to. I remember when I was in Hampstead because I used to love living in North London, and it's like there's a please somebody in the chat correct me, but there was a little place where Muswell Hill, I think it's called, where this famous murderer used to live, where he used to put the bones down the drain. And yeah, in England, it was this guy, and I remember was walking by, and then nobody would buy the house. Is it Muswell Hill, guys? Is it Muswell Hill? You know, so that guy, well, he was caught by chance because he put too many bones in, and then the pipes, you know, they got clogged. Clogged. These are the things.
Spread of gang violence wrecks Sweden's peaceful image. This is 2023. And I'll give you a clue. The gang violence isn't being committed by people, blonde-haired people called Olaf. It's not. It's being committed by black-haired people called Mohammed. Right? That's Sweden. So Sweden's knackered now. Sweden's knackered.
I was reading that the UK has like pretty much a bunch of mayors that are Muslim and stuff like that. You know what? I was really pissed. Okay, I am religious, guys, but I'm not a fanatic. Now, the Pope that I really loved, and I was very privileged to meet in 1996 was Pope John Paul II.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I got to meet him, and it was amazing. Do you want me to share what you have here, or is that okay?
No, it's...
okay, so... But this Pope Francisco didn't do it for me. He was bringing some acharaca, the one that just died. He didn't do it for me. He was very woke and into all kinds of things, and you know, no. So I'm looking forward to the next one. But I mean, Charles, to say the message that he gave, praising that, and this is on Easter. By the way, Jews nor Islamic people believe in Easter. And yet in his message to Christian people, the defender of the Church of England is saying that people should learn to be like something like kind like Jews and something like Islam. So are you implying that we Christians don't embody those? Why did he have to say he had such backlash? Oh my God.
The irony is, right, you know why it's so egregious? This is why I hate Charles. It's so much more egregious than anyone doing it in America. It's one thing if, like, Joe Biden says nice things about them, but America's a secular country. In England, the king is the sworn head of the state and the church. He's the head of the Church of England. And he spends all of his day... Christopher Hitchens said this years ago. He said, like, 15 years ago, Charles is an Islamophile. All he does is fawn over Mighty Mo and his 10-year-old wife. You couldn't make it up. So King Sausage Fingers, he's not the defender of the state. He's a slimy, oily, lying, globalist sociopath. And I've always thought that about him.
This is what he said for his Easter. He said, addressing the nation, King Charles said, on Maundy Thursday, Jesus knelt and washed the feet of many of those who would abandon him. His humble action was a token of his love that knew no bounds or boundaries and is central to Christian belief. The love he showed when he walked the earth reflected the Jewish ethic. Didn't the Jewish people kill him? Of caring for the stranger and those in need. A deep human instinct echoed in Islam and other religious traditions, and in the heart of all who seek the good of others.
It's so dishonest. It reminds me of that meme. Have you seen the meme where it's like, don't believe everything you read on the internet, George Washington? That's like King Charles saying that, isn't it? Islam didn't even exist when Jesus was around. It came like 600 years afterwards or something. And he's saying this. You might as well tell me, remember when Jesus said, Allahu Akbar? He didn't say that. He never once said any of that. And this is the same drivel. It's fiction. This is what I told you what I hate about it. It's wishful thinking. That's why it offends me so much. I think wishful thinking is for children, right? It's fine to believe in Santa Claus when you're a little kid, but as soon as you grow up, you've got to leave that stuff behind. So to me, no head of state or politician has got any business living in a fantasy land that's purely based around idealism. You've got to be a pragmatist if you're going to be a professional politician or a leader of men or a statesman. And it's a good job you caught me mid-rant there, because I think we've lost Paula again. It's all right. I can ramble with the best.
No,
of
sorry about this. I'm sorry. I'm swearing. Did you hear that?
All right.
I'm sorry about that, guys. It's just that this is insane. This is driving me insane. Sorry about that, guys. I really do apologize.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We don't all have machete-toting lunatics to deal with. Close that. Close the other one though. It's reverbing a lot.
Yeah.
Here. Sorry about that, guys. It's just that it's a nightmare. I'm sorry about that. So, but it is unbelievable. Like this guy, and he doesn't get it. He doesn't get it. He truly doesn't get it. He is angered. He's angered and hurt by the backlash. He doesn't understand the backlash. But you know what? There's one thing you're wrong about. He didn't promise to defend the Church of England, the Anglican faith. He said that he'll be the defender of all faiths.
Well, that's changing the rules. That's not what his job is. He was the head of the Church of England. He's not the head. Christ on a bike. Think of this rationally. Defend all faiths.
I already have a pope.
They don't want him. They don't want him. If Charles rocked up in Mecca and went, get rid of this daft cube, I'm the head of the religion now, they'd chop his head off and nail it to the cube that's there. It's not his job. It's not his job. He's supposed to be the head of the Church of England. What's he got to do with... I'm sure the Grand Ayatollah will have a word with him if he tries to take any credit for their ridiculous plagiarized book of desert scribblings. It's bollocks. This is what I mean. I get angry because I'm a pragmatist. Yeah. And I despise the weakness of these airy-fairy, liberal do-gooder, woe is me, hand-wringing. I hate them for their weakness and their stupidity. Winston Churchill's a good example. Winston Churchill was a pragmatist. Mm-hmm. They always give him shit for the Bengal famine and the bad decisions he made. He was just picking something because he knew sometimes there's no good choice to make. It's like Sophie's choice. I was talking about that this morning with Dino. Sometimes there is no good choice to make. The only choice to make if you're Sophie is to pick a kid.
Yeah.
Because what's the point in a vainglorious sacrifice? What's the point in going, oh, what, me and one of the kids can leave? I'll tell you what, let's all just jump in the fire.
That's insane.
Stupid. You have to make...
That's a horrible movie. I was watching.
Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? A politician, a statesman, should be a pragmatist. And it's like, if someone comes in now and says, right, I'm going to shoot you or Paula in the head. If you don't pick anyone, I'll just kill you both. I'd be like, all right then, shoot Paula, because I want to live. I bet you thought I was going to say me there, didn't you?
No.
What I'm saying is, I'd pick someone.
I should feel hurt or something, but
I'd feel good. I'll tell you what, I'll flip
You see,
a coin.
if I were 20, I'd be like, how dare you? But I'm 56. I don't give a fuck, really. I really don't.
No, well, you're 10 years older than me, and this tracks, because I have always said it should be done on age odd. You know, like on the Titanic. I used to say this when I was 18. I used to be like, hang on. If I was on the Titanic and they said women and children first, and they're going to put some 85-year-old woman on there, I'd be like, fuck off, I'm only 18, you old bitch. Yeah,
you're going out, yeah, exactly.
It should go
You've
on
lived
age
long
order,
enough.
Right? Like,
You've lived long enough.
Anyway, so what I'm getting at is, you've got to be a pragmatist. You've got to be a pragmatist. And none of our leaders are now because they're moral cowards. So they put their head in the sand and they go, if we just keep saying diversity is strength and we just keep bringing over 1 million or 2 or 3 million foreign men every year, eventually everything will be good and everyone will be friends, everything will be nice. It won't be. Eventually, you're going to get total civil war. And that's what's going to happen in Europe.
You need boundaries. You need boundaries. That's the thing. It's like discipline is a bad thing. I was watching this documentary. It's called Duty Calls Prince William, right? And it starts with a speech from the Queen giving to, soldiers that are graduating and they're about to go into war. I sort of got mad. I was crying I mean, what a monarch. The way she spoke, is like the way, I mean, it makes you want to be a soldier when you hear your monarch give those kinds of speeches. You know what I mean? It's like you're going to go out there with honor. I'm proud of you. Like the values, you represent the values and everything. And you knew that you were representing the values of this lady who, for whatever reason, even the most ardent Republicans in the United Kingdom love, because I mean, this lady was I mean, I really, that I'm a hardcore
Yeah, I
Queen
know.
Elizabeth
Well,
there.
like I said, I like Lizzie, and I'm not a staunch monarchist, but I
But
liked
if
her.
you watch it, even you will feel something when you start listening to her voice. It's called Duty Calls King, with Prince William, and it starts. It's him and her speech, of giving to the soldiers. I'm sure that you've heard her give a speech or something like that, when they're graduating, and
Yeah,
it's like, and how she wishes the best and safe return. Is like, oh, I was bawling my eyes out. I was crying. It's like,
really.
why can't we have? If the Queen were alive, we wouldn't have England in the mess that we have right now. I really do
Mm.
believe that people would be embarrassed to embarrass the Queen.
Yeah, maybe Starmer would have tempered his behaviour because
No, I'm
it's just terrible.
serious.
It's terrible now.
No, but what do you think if the Queen were alive? And let's say she were like 70 years old rather than the 90.
Yeah, well, you can't know, can you? It's speculation. I think some of the stuff they've done that would she'd have pushed back, surely. Like
Oh, I'm sure. I'm
locking people
sure.
up for making jokes on Twitter. And
Did
it's
you
a
see
sad
that
state of
mother who got
affairs.
put in jail? And while Harry and Meghan are putting
Disgraceful.
stuff that is absolutely horrendous online,
Yeah.
the things that they're saying. You know that Harry went to the legends. This is for you to laugh. Harry can't fly. He really does not have a pilot's license. He got a commander, Apache commander, but he's not a pilot. I don't know why they keep saying he's a pilot. The most he got is a co-pilot because he gets to be the gunner in the Apache helicopter. He never learned how to fly.
Yeah, I
But
know.
they
I
they
remember.
they gave them the livings of legend aviation last year. John Travolta handed over to him. You know what he said on the podium, right? Oh yeah, like you, John, dining of my mother's name. This is to John Travolta. And they, as a favor to keep him relevant, they gave him those wings. This year he attended. He barely stayed there for 11 minutes. And then Kurt Russell, God bless his soul, you know what he says? Harry, the living legend of aviation, has to leave early because he has to go pick the berries for his wife's raspberry soup. I mean, I don't understand why this man is allowed to keep going to court. I
Yeah,
really
no,
don't get it.
me either. It's
No,
mad.
you know what I mean? What? Why are the courts allowing this?
Because there's one rule for them and one rule for us, and if you're a normie, you get what you're given, don't you? You get the scraps. That's why. Because
But this is
that's the
absolutely,
rule.
like I was looking at the other day, and from a perspective point of view, right? He was allowed to bring to court a case that had already, the statute of limitation to bring it to court had passed by almost 8 years. Yet he was
Mm,
allowed to bring it in. Forget the statute of limitation. Okay, we're going to make an exception for you, which costs money to everybody. And in the end, he ended up settling.
yeah,
And now he has this case. He was told during Sandringham, if you leave, you lose because you're security, because you're
yeah,
no longer a working royal. It happened to Eugenie and Beatrice. They were fifth and sixth in line to the throne when the security was taken out, and they're still alive. He has his
aye.
private security,
Mm,
and he comes to the UK and he gets full security. So I
no.
don't understand what's happening, and I don't understand why the judges are not throwing this shit out, and they're putting moms on in jail for 31 months for a tweet.
Yeah. It's disgraceful. What they did to that Lucy Connolly is absolutely disgraceful. I made a video all about it, shared all the information about it. It's disgraceful. She
Who's
should
Lucy
never have.
Connolly? Remind me again.
She's the young mother who got jailed.
Yeah, the
And I
31
covered
months
all
thing.
that. Yeah, she'd done nothing. She did nothing. She got really upset when she seen the dead children, and she posted something angry and said, "Oh my god!" And this is the thing: she didn't even promote violence. Her exact words were, "Do get rid of them all for all I care." She didn't
Yeah.
say do it. She said for all I care. And then she walked the dog and came home 2 hours later because she felt bad, even for that tepid tweet. and she deleted it, and some scumbag politician seen it and fucking pushed the coppers to do it, and she got locked up for years. It's absolutely disgraceful. She
And I
shouldn't
gotta
have even
ask you this. I
served a
gotta
day.
ask you this. Do you remember the outrage when that cop punched those immigrants down, and there was outrage, and all the people, all the Islamists or whatever, almost set fire to London, and then it
Yeah,
was found out that the guy had punched a female copper
yeah,
and the face and broke her
yeah. And
nose and very badly beaten.
they're still free. They're still
No,
free.
but where is the investigation? Why weren't they sent immediately? And I remember clearly that judge with that guy who tweeted that thing, that they immediately took him to trial, and the judge said this is such an egregious crime that it needs to be addressed immediately, and you're going to jail for 2 years.
Disgraceful. It's
But
disgraceful.
what happened to those guys? I haven't heard anything back.
No, they've made it go quiet, haven't they? Because they're the wrong ethnicity to send to prison. So he broke a policewoman's nose, and they're free. They have been since they did it. But Lucy Connolly's rotting in prison. It's
Is
an
she in a is she in a major
disgrace.
is she what kind of prison is she in? Is she like in like a real prison or
Well, she's a woman, so it'll be a little bit easier for her. She'll be
no, but you have levels of prisons. You have like maximum security for like hardcore people, or where is she?
I don't know exactly what prison she's in. I never looked into that, but yeah, what I'm getting
Because
at
can you
is
imagine putting her with like brutal people, brutal women? So not only is she being punished there, and like, but other stuff could be happening to her if she's not
yeah, I know. But you know what I'm saying? It's just that's how bad it's got. So she's rotted in prison for that. But that big nosed foreign man who planted a policewoman in an airport. Like honestly, if I did that, I would instantly go to prison for at least 5 years. It's much worse.
I go visit you, buddy.
It's much worse than punching a policewoman
And we do
anywhere
content.
else.
I smuggle a camera and I do
On the
content.
camera, yeah. I'll poke a Sony Digicam up my ring and take it in. I'll just have a bit of a limp. It's really really messed up. Like, because that's far worse than just punching a policewoman. That's punching a policewoman in an airport. They don't mess around at the airport. They were bank to rights on camera punching a policewoman in the face, and the free men, and they've never served a day in jail for it. They got instantly bailed. They went on the victimhood tour, and then they've never served a day in jail for it. Ricky Jones is a counsellor who said cut the right wingers' throats. Anyone who's protesting, like he said, cut the throats. He said he made explicit death
Yeah.
threats.
Oh, they've
He
said
didn't
horrible
get
things. They said
he-
horrible
nothing happened
things.
to him. But Lucy Connolly is in prison, and the other famous one in England is Sam Melly, who printed some stickers that said it's okay to be white, and they sent him to prison for 2.5 years.
No, they can be
Yeah.
right. Are you
Yeah,
sure?
yeah, you haven't seen that one? That's an old story.
No, but I never heard of. I gotta ask you because your boss posted something on X, and he said, "Why haven't we gone back to the moon after the first landing?" And a lot of people are saying that we never landed on the moon. Why did your
Yeah.
boss post that? Why haven't we gone back to the moon and landed there?
We have
Did we
gone
really?
back.
Okay, I know this is gonna sound stupid, but somebody sent me a documentary, and this guy's actually very clever, and he said that listen, if we haven't been managed to land in the moon with all the technology we have now, what makes you think that we landed on the moon? How many 1960s or? And then when
No,
Elon posted that, I didn't believe it until Elon posted that, and then shit, I started thinking, did we land on the moon, Matt, or are we being fucked around?
we definitely did. I think he's
Are
talking
you
about
sure?
we haven't sent a manned one for a long time, have we? But we
I've sent
definitely
anything.
we use mirrors for lunar ranging. So you know how we know precisely how far away the moon is and how it affects the tides and all of that type of stuff, right?
Uh-huh.
We placed the mirrors on several missions. It was like Apollo 11 to put one out, Apollo 15 to put one out, remember Apollo 13 was the one that went tits up and they made a movie.
Oh yeah,
about it.
yeah.
That's how I remember the numbers. But 14 and 15 to put mirrors on the moon. So we have been more than once. We just haven't done a
No,
manned
did
moon
they
landing.
land on the moon? I mean, did you just send the mirror and they landed? I mean, a manned mission that we can now see them walk on the fucking moon.
Yeah, spacewalk. We haven't actually done a proper walk on
Why
the
not?
moon since. Yeah, well, I guess because it was part of the Cold War and it was perceived to be a big win. But if you don't need to take the risk once you've done it, all the
But why
the
can't you
huffle
build a
was over
colony
with.
there? It's close by.
Well, we're planning to now, aren't we? The long
No,
term
no, you're planning
plans.
on going to Mars. You're not going to. I mean, that's years from now. You have the moon right now, right here.
No, we're doing the moon. That's all part of the plan. The plan is
Are
right.
you?
Yeah, there's loads of plan. So the plan is that you see how we've got a Starlink network around the Earth. The plan is to have a network around the moon as well, and then have perfect seamless transmission between the moon and Earth. And then they're going to use the moon as a staging area to get the boosters up for refueling the rockets. It's all part of the plan. They're going to use the moon and Mars to get to Mars.
Candace Owens did a very good thing. She says we didn't do it. She
Yeah, well,
actually.
I mean, everyone's in this day and age. I
If
understand
Elon
why.
hadn't posted that fucking thing, I would have said, you know what? But you know, the way he said it, it was very sneaky. You should talk to your boss because he should weigh his words before he puts them out like that. Because I was actually listening to Candace, but then when Elon said, you know, isn't he wrote something like, isn't it odd that we haven't gone back to the moon? We've only had one landing on the moon or something like that. And then I'm
We've
like,
definitely been more than once. Definitely.
no, I mean, and a spaceman landing. He meant like no man has gone back to the moon, you know?
Yeah, yeah. That's why we want to do it now. In it, we're going to do it again. Yeah, I'll be more cynical if it doesn't happen. Ultimately, in this day and age, I can understand why people are cynical about it because all we get is lies from the government, from the internet, from the civil servants, from the judges, from the bureaucrats, from the politicians. So you can see why people are very cynical about it. And again, because I'm all about arguing and debating and free speech, I have no issues with anyone being a.
I'm here.
Yeah, I have no issues with anyone being cynical about the moon and thinking it's all lies. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion, and that's fine.
No. I was
I
okay.
think
I did believe we landed on the moon. I did believe we landed on the moon until Candace brought it up, and I do follow, and she's been spot on in quite a few things, like Brigitte. No, I'm
Yeah.
serious. I am
Bobby
serious.
Macron. Yeah, I know.
So I was thinking, I have to ask Matt because you work there. I know that they've sent satellites and stuff, but why don't we have like a man-made station there, man? Because we're closer, you know, like
Yeah. Well, this is the thing, right? Everything we do is for a reason. And the reason the space race was a big deal at the time was because it was almost like a massive. It was part of the great game. It was a geopolitical game, right? So that was why it happened in the first place. Since then, they've just weighed the cost and benefit to it and gone, what's the point? Now we know that we can viably make money using the moon. Now we're going to go. I guarantee it's going to happen now.
what do you mean you can make money off the moon? How can you make money off the moon?
Because there's going to be loads of minerals and shit you can use, right? And the problem with it is, what people don't understand is, launch price. It used to be until SpaceX came along. It used to be ludicrously expensive. They've talked about this so much, and all the numbers are right there for everybody to see. One launch, like a Falcon 9 launch, which is what we use to send satellites up, that costs like 70 million, right? It's a lot of money. A lot of work, a lot of fuel, a lot of process. So it's 70 million. But because they started reusing them, they got that price down from stupidly high. Like when you're talking about NASA and stuff, like it's hundreds of millions of dollars. And it was only when SpaceX entered the scene and they started being able to reuse the boosters, because we send them up and they come back down and land and we reuse them. It was only then that the price per kilo, if you go on the internet, if you're now in this day and age, thanks to SpaceX, if you're like a random company like T-Mobile and you want to send satellites up, you do a ride share, so you pay SpaceX and they'll take your little satellite and stick it on with loads of other satellites and they all go up together. It's called ride share and it makes it economically viable. And apparently the cost per kilo sent to space has gone down like 100-fold. Like if you did it 20 years ago, it would cost you, I don't know, 5 million to send a satellite up. Now you can do it for 200,000 or whatever. So it's all about cost. And the reason we couldn't have made money on the moon was because it was prohibitively expensive to send anything back, right? Like
Yeah.
the tonnage you can put on a booster
Yeah,
is
yeah.
tiny.
That's what I was gonna say, because when you come back, you would come back with a lot of stuff, and re-entering the atmosphere, you would
Yeah.
need something special, right? Even though I'm not an engineer, I imagine that you would need
I,
to have
I'm
a
not an
special
engineer, so
thing.
if any of my numbers are off, you can have a pop. But what I'm saying to you is, they have made it financially viable now, because now they've got it down to like $300,000 for a 50-kilo payload or whatever it is. Right now, they've made boosters that are so big. Even the Falcon 9 booster is not big enough to bring a payload back. But the plan with Starship is Starship can drop that price down to $2,000 or something, because it can lift 300 tons or some shit, which is like 10 times more than anything else in history. So if we get to the point where the booster can be fully reusable and it can carry payloads of 300 tons, then all of a sudden you can do loads of mad shit on the moon. But people who are lame and who don't understand this, you could never have done anything because you couldn't get the building materials up. This is what Elon said about how the Mars mission can actually work now, because everything, you could only carry a tiny payload. I think the maximum tonnage on Falcon, and that's the best one we've got, is like, or best one we had, is only about 30 or 40 tons. Like, you can't take that much up. So a crane weighs 50 tons, right? You couldn't get the materials up to build a moon base. You couldn't get the materials up to build anything. Now we've got the technology where we can. So that's why I think they did it to win the great game, the political game. But it was never financially viable to bring anything back or send any materials
That's
up. But
why.
now,
That's
yeah,
why.
so the plan with Starship is that they're going to have sent 100 to Mars before they send the people. And because the Starship can carry hundreds of tons, the plan is send 100 rockets with hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands of tons of materials. So when a manned mission lands, you get off the rocket and you've already got cranes, building materials, power sources, supplies, fuel, food, water, everything you need. But it's only got viable in the last 10 years. Like, none of that could have happened before
But
SpaceX
you know
did
what I
that.
was thinking? Can you imagine? Because from what I read, I remember that during Biden, Elon was not allowed to even bid for that. Right? He was literally banned, and it really makes me mad because when you have idiots at NASA, when you don't allow competition, when you don't allow you don't people, if you don't have competition, then you don't grow ideas, because then people don't feel they need to be better. Right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what the competition. I am a guys. I'm not woke. I think like you don't get, you don't get a what's a consolation prize. No, you fucking win. You compete. I'm from that age. Okay, so I'm 56. So just do the math. 1968. We competed, and we were like, we were not enemies. We were good sports people back then.
yeah.
But I was thinking, what a shocking thing, because he did this all with his own money. Can you imagine if he had gotten government grants and the government had worked with him and stuff like that? It would have been. I think we would have been much further. Um, I don't know,
Hundred
advanced.
percent, 100%. Again, isn't this our political opinions? The government is always in the way. The government has hindered the space race. If it hadn't have all gone through NASA and all this government shit, because they're all grossly incompetent, we'd have been up doing this 20 years ago. If it wasn't for one man's brilliance and his deep pockets, we wouldn't
Yeah,
be
and the
where we're
sleep
at.
pockets. Yeah, yeah.
These morons, these woke morons who don't know anything, are all saying, "Oh, he's making his money off the government." He's saved America hundreds of millions of dollars because the alternative is paying other people to do it. Before SpaceX was sending up astronauts and rescuing astronauts, we had to pay the Russians to do it because we didn't have the capability to send them up. We were giving the Russians money to send our astronauts up to the space station. Now American
I
companies
love you.
doing
I
it.
gotta say, I love your people coming on your channel. I really do. That sometimes I go to your videos. I listen to you, but I'm looking at the comments because people are just go mad. I wanted to ask you
That's that
one thing.
English sarcasm. That's that English sarcasm.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you something, because this is something that's driving me crazy, Matt. And I know people may disagree. This is not about politics or anything. This is about making sense.
Right.
Zelensky just basically is refusing. He wants to continue the war, right? Russia, Putin has already said, I have, I have 100 million times more rare earth than Ukraine, which is true. I'm willing to do a deal to
Yeah.
Trump. So why doesn't Trump do a deal with Russia? Because you see, that's a great chess move. If he does a deal with Russia, Russia will stop the war, and then he puts NATO in checkmate. Because you see, if he gets Russia on his side, Russia is allied with China.
Yeah. China.
Who is going to stop Russia with the United States and China alliance? Can somebody please explain that to me? You make China work in your favor, not own your ass like they were doing with Biden.
Yeah. I know.
Why isn't he doing that? Why are they still begging to Zelensky when he has this is what he has of that rare earth and Putin has already said, I'm willing to do that, because if Trump accepts that deal, then Europe will have to stop funding war to Ukraine.
Yeah,
He will force their hands. Do you think that's because Trump's hands are tied and they won't allow him to make that deal?
I think so. I think the socialist, psychopath, globalist scum that run the world from the shadows do not want the war in Ukraine ever to end. They love the endless war, the endless death. They want less people in the world. They want more conflict in the world because they make money from it. I think these maniacs are desperate to keep that war going. And you can tell because all the usual suspects have never been anything other than pro-war. One of my other nemesis, that Guy Verhoff twat, the slimy lying Belgian pedo, all he does is talk about war, endless war. Oh, we have to fight more, because their kids aren't fighting in the war. It's to make money. It's to end the lives of millions of young men. And Trump's fighting against all that. I think it's obviously
But
part of the plan.
he can easily end that. Make the deal with Putin. I've tweeted it at X, and you work at X, and your tweets probably get read by your boss. Send him an email. Tell him to urge. No, I'm serious. Tell him to urge.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna send you a documentary, Matt. I'm gonna send you a documentary that I want you to watch and see if you can comment on it. It's actually by this guy George the Giant Slayer. He's a huge popular YouTuber. He talks about Marvel and everything, but it took him 3 years to do this documentary when it wasn't popular. It's a monologue. It's the end of the woke monologue, but it's amazing, and and people didn't take him seriously. He's already a bestseller. He wrote a book because his father kidnapped him and used to beat the crap out of him in a basement, because he would refuse to say that he would tie him up at a 4-year-old. As a 4-year-old, he would tie him up in a basement and say that you don't love your mother. And the little boy would say, I love my mom. So he would beat him. He was tied already,
Really?
and he would beat him. I mean, and he managed to escape. But it's an unbelievable story. Now he's an immensely popular YouTuber. But he did the woke monologues, the end of the woke, something like that. It's called, and it's absolutely chilling because you can't find it on YouTube. You actually really have to search for it because YouTube buries it.
Really?
That's how good it is. And I urge you guys, I'm going to leave the link because Matt, when you watch him, he's just a microphone. He's just a man with logic talking. But it's something that's unthinkable nowadays, But I was thinking about this because is Trump sitting with Zelensky in the Vatican? He has a great relationship with Putin.
I don't know. There's evil machinations behind the.
But do you think it's because Trump is being manhandled not to?
Yeah,
Because BlackRock owns most of Ukraine. I think that BlackRock owns most of Ukraine because BlackRock banks have given a lot of money to Ukraine, and they have used their soil or the rare earth as part of a deal. The United States was the only stupid one giving the money like for grants.
Yeah, I know. It's definitely some evil machinations behind the scenes, isn't it? Like I said, the powerful people that run the world, the real ones that run the world, not the ones who get voted in. They've been pro-war since the get-go. You must remember, literally like the first day it looked like it was going to kick off, all we got was endless Ukraine flags, love Ukraine, support Ukraine, all the time, every day off the media. So it's all part of the plan, isn't it? It's the same with COVID when they said, the people aren't frightened enough. propaganda campaign. They had a propaganda campaign for Ukraine. They had a propaganda campaign for the groomers. They had a propaganda campaign for the COVID. There's definitely a hidden agenda at work. And sadly, the people whose faces you see, like Trump and Putin, they aren't running it. It's these slippery lawyers behind the scenes like Klaus.
You know what's Klaus Schwab? It's gone. But you know what I said? Alex Jones. Alex Jones was bragging. Oh, Klaus Schwab was down. And then I wrote a comment and said, "Oh, just wait to see who's coming," because the guy who's replaced him, Klaus Schwab, is like Santa Claus compared to this guy.
Yeah, typical. And how
I
many
kid you
times
not.
have people like us
I
said
know
this?
this
I know.
guy.
Yeah.
I know this guy. This is a guy that probably nobody has ever heard of before, which is bad that you haven't heard of this guy before.
Yeah, psychopath.
This
Better
guy
the
wants
devil
to.
you know. Better the devil you know.
This guy wants to pretty much and kill all the poor people in Africa and not give them water.
Yeah, this guy's going to be like, Dr. Evil. Yeah,
Dr. Evil is kind to him.
This guy's going to be eating baby kebabs live on television. Yeah, it's typical. Anyway, Paula, I forgot
we have
because
to
I've got a
get
friend
going,
of
and
mine waiting on
I
me.
apologize. I want to apologize for internet was shitty today, but we're gonna have Matt again in a couple of weeks. And
right.
I'm sorry about the internet going shit, and stuff like that. So maybe we should have it on your channel the next time, Matt, and I can just share it in case that the electricity goes off or something. Hopefully
We'll
this will be over. It'll be easier because you have good.
Right,
You have internet.
I'll get you on man in a couple of weeks. It'll be easier, unless someone attacks my house with a machete. See you later.
Bye, guys.
Take it easy.
Oh, so cute. So, guys, thank you very much. I really do apologize. That's City, my dog, for the internet. It's something that's out of my control. Please go subscribe to Matt the Angry Bootneck. We need to get him to 100,000. I think that we can do that. So this is his YouTube channel. Is right here. You can see it right here. The Angry Bootneck. I watch him all the time, and you guys who participate are amazing with your comments. I wish I could do the thumbnails the way he does them. I don't know how to, I have to ask him how to do it, how he does it. But yeah, please go subscribe to his channel, and thank you for having watched. And I hope you have a wonderful Sunday, and keep safe. And yeah, see you later, guys.